Welcome to the Tuckcast with a splash of bourbon, presented by Tuckaseegee Fly Shop and Guide Service. Tuckaseegee Fly Shop and Guide Service has 3 convenient locations to serve you: 3 Depot Street, Bryson City, North Carolina; 530 West Main Street, Sylva, North Carolina; and our newest store located at 110 Depot Street, Waynesville, North Carolina. Tuckaseegee Fly Shop and Guide Service is your #1 stop prior and after your epic fly fishing adventure in western North Carolina. Tuckaseegee Fly Shop and Guide Service proudly carries industry-leading brands such as Sims, Orvis, Corkers, Sage, Rio, Scientific Anglers, Hatch, Nautilus, Lamson, Fish Pond, Scott Fly Rods, Echo, Umpqua, Hairline, Nature Spirit, Peak, Norvice, plus a large selection of flies and streamers. Check out www.tuckflyshop.com. Streamflow information, book a lesson or guided trip, or even shop for your favorite Tuckaseegee Fly Shop gear. Follow the crew on Facebook at Tuckaseegee Fly Shop, Instagram at Tuck Fly Shop, and on YouTube at Tuckaseegee Fly Shop. Here in our Sylva shop today, we have Bobby, the Bearded Wonder Bennett, Coach Dell Diesel Collins, and I'm your host, Shannon, Big Mess Messer.
Hey.
Hey.
Welcome, everybody.
Man,
That's
when
right.
you say umpqua, that's got some umph to it.
Umpqua.
Is it Umpqua or
Umpqua.
Umpqua?
I don't know.
Yeah, you should, right?
I mean, I know the river, but I've never been. I think it's like an Indian name.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
never
I
heard
would say
it's
that's-
properly spoken.
Umpqua, something like that.
I don't know.
Tomato.
Correct.
Yeah.
Maybe not to them, but
Pecan.
Are they Pacific Northwest?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's in
correct.
Oregon.
Oregon.
right?
Yep.
Well, that other voice that you're hearing is our good buddy from Waynesville that we've gotten to know, Cabell Tice. Is it Cabell?
It's Cabell, like
Cabell.
Scrabble.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Or like Babel with a C in the front.
Cabell
All right.
like Scrabble.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
Cabell owns Orchard. Oh, I'm sorry. I already did. Cabell owns Orchard Coffee there, just in the downtown district there in Waynesville, and has been a fantastic neighbor to Tuck Fly Shop, and as we got operations rolling over there. So looking forward to hearing more about Cabell and just his story here in a little bit.
Man, he was the first one to know besides me and you. Because he saw us in the shop looking
Okay,
at it.
so
I got excited.
We got to at least dive
Yeah.
into that.
so we're checking this parcel out over in Waynesville.
I mean, our wives didn't even know that
Yeah, no,
by then.
I don't think
Bro
so.
day.
Because we just like saw it and said, "Oh, let's check this out."
And you know, we're in this room. It's 110 Depot Street. It's all mirrors all the way around. All right, so nobody
Purple.
can sneak up on you. Okay. So I see this guy, and he looks all giddy and happy. And Bobby and I have got our, this June, we got our fly fishing shirts on that say, we might fish a little
I think
bit.
it might be Sims or Orvis or something. Some
Yeah.
gave it away. Maybe
I think
the
I
Orvis
had this
hats.
like Orvis
something
hat
like
on.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Cabell like motions through the window like fly fishing, and we were like, yeah, and I was like, sweet, this is the owner of the building. So
That's what I thought. I thought
Not
it was
me.
we unlock the door. He comes in, and I'm like, yeah, that's awesome, man, that's awesome, yeah. We'll see you later, and it was like, who was that?
Not the owner of the building. Not that one.
We didn't even know what your deal was yet. We were just
That's
like,
funny.
man, that's a good omen. Like this
Right.
dude's walking down the street, sees us, and gets excited that we look like we might be putting a fly fishing store in.
I was pumped. Yeah.
So
I was super stoked.
yeah, so and that was kind of like okay, this might be the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that was fun because the last, there was a Hunter Bank shop on Main Street, and then they closed.
no names.
no names. No names.
I'm just kidding.
Anyways, there's some good guys there, but
They're
but
great.
they
They're
closed, and then like there was like a vacuum in Waynesville. If
Yeah.
you wanted to go fishing, like if I want to go fishing in Pisgah, and I need flies, I have to go to Asheville or Sylva, and came in here a couple times, but not a lot of times. I mean, didn't really know y'all at that point, so. I'm excited. I'm like still so pumped. I'm down. I'm visiting I visit the shop every single day.
Yeah.
I was there this morning with my son. He was trying on hats. His favorite thing to do.
Did you find that kid's fish pond hat again?
So yeah, he loved it. And he wore it around the cafe, around the shop.
Until it's time.
But until it's time to go, because he loves it, and Josiah, so I got to bring them both in, and because if one goes home without a hat and the other one wants a hat, it's just how.
Oh yeah.
how many kids you got?
Three. 3. Yep, 8. I got an 8-year-old girl, Olive. She's amazing, and then the 2 boys are 5 and 3, and they're just awesome kids.
Yeah, it's been an amazing story to get to know you, and we feel blessed to just be a part of that Waynesville community now. So
Dale's over there breaking the
my mic's
microphone.
falling apart. It's not the bourbon. We hadn't even got there yet.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you, because especially now, like I feel like I almost took like a unintentional hiatus from fishing just because it was not easy to get out, and we were a pretty new business, and so now I'm always in the cafe, like wearing a fishing hat or whatever, and I strike up conversations with people all the time. I think I've probably sent 4 people down to your shop to get fully outfitted that have never fly fished before, and man, it cracks me up every time. But yeah, I kind of like, for my customers, I kind of have this open invitation. If you want to fish, I'll go fishing with you. And it's been really pretty awesome to go out with a couple of these folks.
Well, I think a lot of folks underestimate, when folks come here and they shop with Tuck Fly Shop or whoever, and they go around these towns, they're not realizing that who they're buying from is probably also an angler.
Mm-hmm.
You just think, oh, I'm in this boutique.
Right.
Like, well, the person who owns the boutique might also fly fish.
They're probably fishing tonight. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, this weekend it's happening, or Sunday after work, whatever. So there's a lot of that going on in Waynesville. Like a lot of shop owners on Main Street come down and partake.
Well, and we see a lot of retired folks too that have come up, and they're like I'm just getting my wife into fishing, and I met this older guy the other day, and he was telling me how 30 years ago he and his wife got into fishing together, and it's been like I got so pumped like hearing this guy just like recant stories of how him and his wife are spending time on the water.
I think we've heard it too.
That's so amazing. And
could have been Bob. He was over there.
Maybe
Bob and his brother were over there.
I'm gonna look at my email just because he sent me an email. So sorry, don't.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's a guy named Bob. That'll be cool.
So while you're looking that up, I want to give a shout out to Brian on Bourbon for providing our splash of bourbon for the episode. Today we are tasting. Did anybody else want any? By the way,
Guess not.
I mean, I can go get another little bottle.
We're good.
The 100-year-old Lysol bottle I found in the backyard is bigger than this one. Just want to confirm. But this is Old Forester 1920 Prohibition 115 proof. So I guess it's going to be, George today described one that was really strong. It's very peppery.
Peppery.
I think I call it spiky.
Spiky.
Like peppery.
Like spicy or hot bourbon, I think.
Hot.
What did I call that, Knob Creek? Remember what I called it?
Called it
Man,
hot.
Hot.
That was
You called it hot.
I couldn't drink
Like
that.
burn your esophagus.
Oh, that's
Hot.
That was
All
for
right.
a real man, and I'm not a real man. That's all I can say.
Hey, you got a car with a roof that pops up. That's pretty manly. Put your freshly done nails out the window.
In reference to Bobby's big boy Bronco
New
finally being delivered. So
Finally got it. There's
It's
a
a
new
good-
horse
it's a-
in the stable.
It's a great color. Okay, his name's Alan, and he sent me pictures of him and his wife outside of their fishing thing.
oh, that's awesome.
I know.
excellent.
As well as like he likes to fish good water. It's a real fish.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is
That's
a
the-
real
fish, yeah.
he's
That's
fishing
the
some
kind of
small
fish.
Yeah.
It's not a stalker.
I hate that debate.
Oh,
You know,
what's the
when
debate?
people- Well, just when people crush on you on social media, like, oh, that's a stockfish.
Yeah. Stockfish are
man,
fun too, but I do
don't
feel
troll this.
I do feel like if people only fish stock water, that's a little cheap. You got to work for it sometime.
Sometimes it saves the day too.
No, for sure. Well, as a guide, if I was a guide, which I'm nowhere near that in my skill level, I'd fish with you guys, but I would go to stock water all the time unless it was, because people want to go catch fish. They don't want to go hiking.
Depending on abilities.
Yeah.
You kind of read the book there, so to speak, and figure out what they can handle. But
Right.
Last Monday, Bobby and I took some fellas over, and man, we just absolutely got crushed. Like questioning our own abilities.
Yeah.
And then the next day, and this is why I was going to go over this in the fishing report, but this is why you book more than one day here, because one day, for whatever reason, it was off. Could have been the waning moon.
Yeah.
Could have been the elk were laying down in the field.
Right.
Bad time to be fishing.
It was windy the other day.
Yeah.
Man, Justin and I were fishing. We were on this little stretch of water. It must have been blowing like 50 miles an hour. We're fly fishing. It was like,
Yeah.
we caught a bunch of fish, but it was so cold.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's March started out fantastic, and I was like, oh man, this is
So nice.
yeah. And then man, it showed up.
Mm.
So
I didn't like how it showed up.
no, I don't think anybody did.
I heard
Duke
this.
Energy showed up too.
Sumter, actually, Sumter, or the one, I guess their contractor was the one
Yeah.
that they're,
Had to
Releasing a
come
lot of
fix the
water.
line
yeah,
for you.
yeah,
Oh, I was talking about the generations, but yeah, they showed up at your house too.
yeah, they did. I'm sorry. Yeah,
They-
as more,
Shannon went a whole day without power.
we went about 30 some hours without it.
We
there.
went
Yeah.
about 30 grocery bags in the trash.
They say, what is it? In like a lamb, out like a lion for
Mhm.
March.
Mhm.
It's been
It's
like
complete
that.
opposite.
It's-
though.
Yeah.
No, it came in early, in minor, and it's going out like a lion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's either one or the other. If it comes in strong, it usually goes out pretty mild,
Right.
or vice versa. Yeah, for sure.
Just don't interrupt my Wheel of Fortune for a severe thunderstorm warning
Yeah, we know.
in Walhalla, South Carolina. Like,
We
no
hear it.
offense for
Yeah.
anybody, but I mean, that prize puzzle, okay?
Fried okra,
Pickled okra.
that
Was
too.
it pickled okra?
I don't know. Well, I threw out
Nope.
one. I just typed it on.
He just put a phrase out there.
I just put a phrase, pickled okra.
And
What is
but-
this?
so it was like
That's the point.
last week sometime.
It was the point, man.
There was a weather warning in like upstate South
Yeah,
Carolina,
of course.
and they interrupted. Like, I love that 7 o'clock hour. You get Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. Okay, like don't mess with me during 7 to 8.
Who's the new Jeopardy host? Is it like
It
rotating?
rotates.
Are they still
Okay.
rotating?
My him by
It's not
I can't
Aaron
pronounce
Rodgers anymore.
No, I
Or
think
who was he? Who was Jeopardy?
he
wasn't
did it for a little bit.
That would
But
have been
Ken Jennings is rock star. Like,
Yeah.
he needs to just like suck it up, take it, Ken. Be the man.
There you go.
Be Alex.
I haven't watched it since
Anyhow,
I don't watch it anyway. Yeah.
anyhow,
since I was like 12. I haven't watched it.
severe thunderstorm warning hits. Interrupt Jeopardy. Wheel of Fortune, and of course, nothing came out of it. But there was a tornado over towards northeast of Hickory, which is like, come on, that's nowhere
Yeah.
near here.
But I did check radar scope. I did purchase it.
Did you get the radar
I
scope?
did, man. It's interesting though when you can look at the radar in Greer and the one in Knoxville. You get two different. There is a difference in it for sure.
Apparently, radar scope's the app. to
Have you been playing with the layers? This is reference to a previous episode with quasi weatherman Preston Jacobson.
So no, because I didn't get a pro version.
Yeah.
I just got the regular version.
How
I'm
much
not-
is the
The regular is like less than $10, and you've got it. If you want to do the other ones with all the layers and stuff, it's so much per year, and that's not me.
Okay, it's like a subscription.
There's a lot of different things. I could see where this gets real wonky
Mm-hmm.
for sure. But seeing that, it gives you one great thing about it is you do get the alerts. I look and I will know the alerts and I can click on them and then see what they are. But it's got the boxes. It's exactly what you're seeing there. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely quite a bit more advanced. And
Yeah.
I thought the weathermen were sitting back in a back room, like predicting all this
Like
stuff.
color pencils.
Yeah, it's not what I thought.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot. It's
These weather apps
That's
aren't
kinda
what
like-
they used to be.
well, no, it's just like the skill set is like if you can learn how to put this stuff together, anybody can be a weather person.
A
Well-
meteorologist might. one might say.
And so
For the
going,
predicting side of it,
we're
you
kind of
know,
circling
it-
back to that entire episode with Local Yokel.
Well, we don't want to go there, but yeah, sorry.
The other part, disappointing piece to finding out about meteorology is that some of the people you see on television are actors.
Really?
They're not even meteorologists.
Isn't that those people
They're-
that tell you like you're a Scorpio or whatever? I'm just kidding.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
very nice.
Yeah, but I mean,
Oh.
they're it's total acting.
Yeah,
Well, you do have to be good in front of the camera. I mean, you got to be.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a ton of meteorologists who are not good in front of the camera.
Yeah, that's
Anyways.
right.
as we had the front that comes out of the west,
Yeah.
they're doing
Yeah.
this here, and you get
They
the
got a
flow.
Remember they used
to-
You get the flow.
I remember watching it. They
Yeah.
take the felt lows and put up on the map.
They used to
before
have the
electronics.
they had the pointer, over here like this and doing this. Yeah, it was.
Anywho,
not to get off on
what
a
else
tangent.
is going on, guys?
Final four.
Final four.
Mm.
Good call.
Final four.
Are you a basketball fan? Kevin?
March Madness I follow, but throughout the year, I'm an Oregon fan. So if Oregon's doing great, which was not this year,
So you never watched
get
the
excited.
tournament?
Well, no, a couple years
they-
ago,
yeah, they-
a couple years
they
ago, we
did.
made
They
the
were
Final
good.
Four.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, Oregon's got this really funny thing where we're really good at getting great players and really bad at putting it together.
Yeah.
Didn't even make the tournament this year. I feel like as Nike you shouldn't be missing at least the Sweet 16 every season. But
Right.
Yeah.
you know, whoever that 15 seed, like
St.
you
Peter's,
know, yeah, those guys.
the Peacocks.
Yeah.
Hey,
Anyways,
they brought it.
I mean,
Boys, I just took a sip of that Old Forester.
you took more to sip, bro.
That's like my COVID booster right
There
there.
you go.
Holy cow!
You may have to cut some of that with water, just so you know.
Jiminy Crickets, that needs to be opened up.
Yeah, boy. Cut it with a little bit of water. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Excellent. Yeah, Final Four, rematch, Duke, Carolina.
Man,
Yeah, it's kind of poetic.
I'm pretty certain
Yeah.
I cannot believe, first of all, this is the first time they've ever met in the tournament.
mm,
In how many
Yeah.
years they've
Is it the first time they met in the tournament? First time in the
they've
Final
met in the
Four?
tournament.
Ever in the tournament.
Really?
wow.
Yes.
Okay.
It happens to be Final Four.
In the last
And I guess
year.
between the two of them, they've made the Final Four 20 plus times. I mean, this is 13 for K. Certainly, Chapel Hill's been there double-digit times.
Got the most NCAA tournament wins, actually.
So
They do.
Yes.
yeah, it's. I got to believe this is going to be the most watched game, even over the title game.
Yeah.
Could be.
probably.
Well, who was on the other side of the bracket?
Villanova and
Kansas.
I mean, Kansas. Everybody wants to watch Kansas when they're playing. They got a lot of Midwest folk.
Except for everybody that's a Duke and Carolina fan.
I guess I don't have a dog in the fight, but because I'm here in North Carolina,
Oh.
who do you guys want to win of that game?
Carolina.
Carolina.
I'm a K fan. I love
yeah,
Duke.
yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, and if he loses, I think if Duke loses, what an incredible way to go out against your all-time number one rival in the Final Four.
Who just beat you in your own
You know
tournament
what?
championship?
That's okay. You know, because you're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there's 60 other teams that are not.
I feel like Duke's got a good shot in the same way that that Georgia beat Alabama round 2. You know, it's hard to beat a good team twice.
Yeah.
Because they know what it felt like to lose.
Well, Kay embarrassed them at that ceremony. He called them out.
Yep.
And at home, the last game at Cameron, and said, you know, he apologized to the crowd how embarrassing it was and how unacceptable it was. And I mean, those guys got called out.
Yeah.
So, and they responded. They've been playing like a different team. Anywho, yeah,
Absolutely.
That is awesome.
how many brackets are still right? Have y'all seen that?
I don't think any.
No.
I
It's like
think none.
0.01?
No. 0.01 got the Final Four correct.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But
But they didn't get the bracket right.
nobody. I think nobody put the Peacocks through
No.
to the third round.
Yeah.
To the Elite Eight?
Yeah.
I doubt it.
I'm saying like even to
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. There's no way. But
Hey,
No.
I don't think it's March Madness. I don't think that.
It's amazing. I mean, I totally wish I could grow as much hair as Eddard. That mustache and that hair. Jeez.
Apparently, it's newsworthy that he doesn't eat sandwiches. Like, is that
He's got a sandwich phobia.
or wraps? He doesn't eat sandwiches or wraps. What does he eat? I don't know. Not tortillas.
Does that also mean he doesn't eat pizza?
Maybe all he eats is pizza. Maybe that's the
Maybe he
secret.
doesn't fold it
I don't know.
because they are right there in Manhattan or Jersey, so
yeah, they're in Jersey City.
across the river. So
It's good pizza.
it is. It's like, man, if he, I guess he can eat it just flat, and make a mess. But New York pizza, you got to fold over. What do you think, Shannon?
strong.
Shannon's looking around like
My chair keeps sinking.
life was like a box of chocolate. It did.
I keep getting shorter.
Yeah.
Man,
I'm
that
vertically
was-
challenged as it is, and I keep
Kick
getting shorter,
He
man.
was doing that to me the other day.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
You need to bring in another donut hole, and then you'll.
It's not a donut hole. It's a back thing. Thank you. I don't have hemorrhoids.
Hemorrhoid pad.
I don't have hemorrhoids, folks. It's a booster seat
Speaking
for me
of,
because I'm
today-
vertically challenged.
Speaking of hemorrhoids,
Well, it's on you now,
this,
bud.
no, this reminded me of a client.
Are you
So-
going to tell that story?
No, but today
Making sure.
today is March 29th, and it is flags at half staff. We got flags lining the sidewalk out here in Silva. Today is Vietnam Veterans Day.
Is it? Okay, me and Shannon didn't know this morning. I was like,
So-
There was a whole thing in Waynesville at the
I
courthouse.
didn't realize
really?
that's what
Nice.
it was.
So, so my wife actually she finally found it and sent it to me, and,
Yeah.
and
Dude, I Googled it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I was like, I mean, is it always on March 29th?
It is. It is because March 29th was the day the last American was pulled out of
Okay.
Vietnam.
Wow.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I learned something.
I guess that would have been 76,
Mm.
75.
I'm a little rough on my wars.
then it would be like that. Others would say no, POW, MIAs. That's, but I guess that that was pulled out from active duty over there. Serving
Yeah,
me.
right. So it ended our time in the conflict. But this was a fun. This is your fun-filled fact of the year in reference to this. North Carolina is home to the youngest soldier killed in Vietnam.
That's a
Man.
weird fact.
15 years old.
15.
15 in the Marines.
He lied. How did he get in there at 15?
Yeah.
I'd say there was probably some identity theft.
I'd say somebody.
Mm.
Man. Really?
But I guess once you jump out the helicopter, they ain't pulling you back.
No.
I don't know, but
But it's
15
like,
Yeah,
did he
how do
get
you sign
through-
up? How do you
That's
get in
what
the
I'm saying. How did he
helicopter?
get through?
Well,
the
it was
process?
no different than World War II.
Yeah.
People would do that. Some were
Well,
in
they
the
would
Navy.
lie, but I think
they would write.
17 they would take you in World War
Yeah,
II.
I
but
think.
there was some younger than 17 in
I'm
there.
sure
There's
there
some
was,
history
yeah.
of some in the
Man.
Navy. I think is 13, 14 ish.
13.
Yeah.
They did let Captain America in when he was under age.
Yeah.
Oh man, he couldn't even pass the ASVAB or physical
I don't
test.
know.
Oh, man.
Pretty tough guy. So
What? Let me go to my other screen here. So,
Well, anyways, to Cabell. So what do you do for a living? We didn't mention that in the
Yeah.
introduction.
I make coffee. I make coffee, serve coffee, teach my people how to serve coffee on my behalf. So I have a coffee shop in Waynesville called Orchard Coffee, and I also roast. Coincidentally, 20 feet from the door of the Tuck Fly Shop, so just down the street from the roastery,
You
or
can
from
smell
the
it,
cafe.
man, when
Yeah,
you're doing it.
just down the street from the cafe, we got a roastery, so that's where we do production, and I'm in the cafe about 4 days a week and
Yeah.
roasting, 2 days a week.
Shannon said, "Man, I seen some smoke coming out of there. I didn't know what they was doing in there."
I've done it.
But it
Man, it's
smells
smoke.
good, right?
This was
I was
like
like-
last week.
It was a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, dude, man, there's a fire.
No,
So listen, I went.
Everybody in Silva's on edge
and I'm
about
like,
it.
dude,
Oh,
I went to
right.
look in. I'm like, what the heck? And I seen it. I was like, oh, so I'm peeking up over, and you're sitting over there behind the. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're good.
Behind
We're
your
good.
frosted
We're
glass.
good.
Yeah,
we're
well, I
all,
had
we're
to-
all good.
Yeah, why'd you frost the glass?
Okay,
just out of curiosity.
so I had a smaller roaster in there, and before you guys were there, I had
You
the
didn't want
glass
anybody to see your
open.
small roaster?
No, although that's a funny reason, but in the cafe it's very front facing, right? And so
Yeah.
in the cafe I try to be like very the service style that I want out of my staff and myself is very like friendly, welcoming. Like I'm never gonna be too busy for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I give 110% of that while I'm in the cafe, I really don't have the energy outside of that space to be bringing people into what I'm doing, unless it's because I'm welcoming them in on a planned kind of timed thing. So before I had the windows frosted, I would be roasting, and I get people that walk up and they're like knocking on the window, and some of these people I was like totally stoked to see, but at the end of the day, like when I'm in the roastery, I have an amount of coffee I have to roast, and I'm not going to be a good host if I'm not going to be a good host if I'm actually doing what my job is, which is to execute the amount of pounds I have. So I frosted the glass because frankly, I didn't want to have to, let other people into that side of my week.
It's got to be a nice
Unless
little
it's
escape,
planned.
right?
Yeah, it's like it's a little bit zen. I put on some headphones, I'll listen to a podcast or some music, that's got like some new artists put some fun things out, and it's like a time where I get to just have me time, So in a way it's like it's my own, space, and I love it. The solitary moments of roasting. A lot of roasters would probably echo that sentiment
Yeah,
where
I
it's
can
like
see
you
that.
got your own space, your own time.
Yeah.
It's hard when you got people knocking on the glass to.
So
Yeah.
you don't have to give away too much, but is roasting like just flipping a switch, like pour the beans in?
Oh,
flip the
definitely
switch?
not. No, there's curves that you gotta, essentially you have to create the curve, the roast curve, and you follow the roast curve. So roasting is a lot
Now you're talking baseball, Shannon.
Yeah. Are you a baseball guy?
Yes.
Who's your team?
Well, I think we can look at a couple of things. We're not going to go down that fast.
I'll go down the roasting thing.
We get
So the curves and roasting.
So big George Brett guy.
Okay.
You know, the Royals back in the day.
Yeah.
But obviously soft spot for the Braves. Watched a lot of baseball with my papaw. Coached a lot of baseball actually.
Wow.
So got some former players of mine in playing college right now. So
Wow. Players of yours, you were a coach?
Yes.
Dude, I'm coaching my son's coach pitch team right now, and it is a riot. I'll get back to roasting.
Have you been
but
ejected yet?
Me? No. We haven't had a game yet. I'm waiting to get ejected. I'm excited.
I'm one up on you.
You got it. You got thrown out?
Oh yeah.
Dude, you're like a big deal.
And
All right, so back to the curve on roasting.
Wait, hold on. Can I? Did I tell you? So I was in Kansas with my father-in-law at the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame because he was a pitcher for Wichita State.
Wichita Shockers.
Yeah,
I think I saw
Shockers.
some of this on social.
They
So-
lost to Miami in
Miami.
the College World Series back there in 1980, I believe it was. He did the guy did the fake throw over the first base, acted like it was a pass ball, and that's how they won the game.
So
Holy cow.
my father-in-law pitched in that game. He was the
Nice.
pitcher in that game.
Nice,
Yeah.
man.
Seriously?
That's
Yes,
cool.
absolutely.
So I sat at the Hall of Fame. This was a couple months back. So I'm sitting with Russ Morman, who I think he played. I want to say it was maybe for the Giants, but he had a Giants series ring on. I think he's in their coaching staff. And then who was the catcher for Atlanta when they won the series in '95?
Was it Lopez?
Oh,
Nope.
yeah,
Javi Lopez.
No,
was the
but
catcher.
so I guess the second string catcher.
yeah,
at
but
that
you
point.
had but you also had Greg Olson.
Nope.
He drove the CJ5 down there.
Shoot. I'm blanking on. I'm
yeah,
gonna.
Benedict.
Nope. You'll know it when
No,
you'll know it when I tell you.
no. Yep.
Wichita State.
Yes, I see him.
Shocker.
Very blue collar guy.
Catcher. No. You'll know.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say his name and you'll be like, oh.
That guy.
Star Shockers 82.
Charlie O'Brien.
There we go.
Yeah, Charlie.
That's it. Yeah.
So Charlie, he
So-
had the kind of the strawberry hair, red
So
hair.
I'm sitting at the table with these like legends,
Yeah.
and there's like World Series rings, pretty cool. I took a picture of me. I'm sitting next to Russ Morman with his massive hands and this like chunky series ring, and I said this like sneaky shot to my mom. I'm like, Mom, how cool is this?
Yeah.
But like that. Anyways, baseball. Hopefully I don't get thrown out of my son's league. But roasting. There's like curves you follow, you create them, and basically we're looking for like a Nike swoosh kind of thing, and all coffees will behave differently when you add air affects how hot the flame is, which affects like your rate of rise, and you want different things, you want to control different things, in a lot of ways. Like your rate of rise is your the gold standard you follow, if you will, so you don't want it to like stall out and stay at 1. You want it to kind of come up and slowly go back down.
What come up?
The rate of rise, so how quickly your temperature is rising over like 15 seconds. So if it goes up 15 degrees over 15 seconds, that's pretty fast. If it goes up 3 degrees over 15 seconds, that's pretty slow. So
You're pretty good at it.
yeah, I'm happy with the coffees that I roast. I'm always trying to improve and get better, but there's different things that I can do. There's just like different tools you can get to do a better job over time, but a lot of it's like optical image sorting, which is its own like $45,000 machine, and like just like stuff that you can get past really needing those by just buying better, more expensive coffees.
Yeah.
Which I buy good coffee, but someone who has these machines can buy a cheaper coffee and make it a better coffee by sorting it post and pre-roast. So they can turn it into a higher grade coffee by pulling out the defect, different sizes, different colors. Like there's like a whole science to making coffee great. And so I have on my roaster, I have like airflow control, drum speed, gas, and then I have length of time. So I have a couple things I can use to manipulate how quickly or slowly the coffee roasts. But it really is like just a science, and
How hot does that roaster get? Like,
So
what's the top temperature you take it to?
you can get the roaster pretty darn hot.
Yeah.
But I'm up at, I want to say the highest drop temperature, which is my dark roast coffee, I drop at 420 or 419, and a lot of roasters would, you know, look at like a dark coffee and they're dropping at like 430, 435, but that's real oily and dark. What I try to go for, you know, with most of my coffees is like light and delicate. So most of the coffees that I'm roasting, I'm pulling between 405 and 410. So they're going to be a little bit lighter, a little bit more delicate, a little sweeter. But the darkest one that I do is like 419 is where I pull that. Yep.
Do you how many times do you mess up and you're like, I just screwed up that whole batch?
Bag it and put it on sale.
No. I think I've only really messed up a batch. I've been roasting now for 2 years. I think I've only messed up like 3 batches in that time where I'm like,
that's pretty good.
This is pretty bad. But, you know, roasting for me, every batch is like $100 worth of coffee going in, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty careful and I pay a lot of attention, and most of what happens is like, okay, we lose power. I'm in the middle of my roast, and then, you know, like there's a whatever, like it's like today I dropped the coffee, and then I activated my cooling fan and my cooling arm, which kind of swirls the coffee around. And I put them both on at the same time, and it blew up. It flipped a breaker in my machine, which has never happened. And you know, I've had this machine, you know, brand new, like out of the warehouse for like less than a year. And so
that is a WTF moment.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So it drops into the cooling tray, and I've got no way to cool it. I've got no way to spin it. And so basically, like, thankfully I had pulled most of it out, but I drop it in the cooling tray and it's just sitting there hot. So what happens is you pull your hot coffee, you know, it's 410 degrees. Each bean goes into the cooling tray. It swirls, and there's a fan that just sucks air through. So it gets cool really quickly. Like San Franciscan did a great job making this cooling fan. It's amazing. But if your fan goes out, your beans just keep cooking. Yeah. And so this batch is toast. Like it's you know, I'll throw that away. But
so how do you realize that you've messed? I mean, this obviously you know it got messed up.
Yeah.
But like, is it until you actually make a cup of coffee that you go, man, I got that right?
Well, so
nope, that's Folgers.
Right. No, I pretty much I'll taste every batch that we roast. It's not you know,
QC.
If you ever need any
backups, I thought about bringing some coffee and making some.
You thought about bringing some down today after that batch.
No.
Bag it, give it a
bag it. Give it to this is the Fly Shop blend. But no, there's a lot to making good coffee, and I take it pretty seriously.
You've got some accolades on there, right, Shannon?
Yeah, there is, and I just pulled this off the World Wide Web for what it's worth. David Landsel, I guess I'll say that, David. I apologize. March 11, 2022, Food and Wine. Let me just quote. Let me read this. Industry young gun, Cabell Tice.
Do you want me to put a voiceover on this?
You can if you want to. World Latte Art Champion, not once, but 3 times.
Ooh, Tyce.
So what's
for the Tyce?
What's world? I'll let you finish, and then I'll ask him. Sorry.
Made the decision to settle down a few years back, settling a small town, Waynesville, in the Smoky Mountains,
which is big town to us.
Yeah, all the way across the country from his hometown in Hawaii. Along with his family, he opened Orchard Coffee, and with some of his considerable experience at the helm, the whole operation felt important from day one. And over time, only more so these days, one of the country's best small-town cafes is backed rather strongly by its own roasting operation known as Steamline Coffee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There you go. That was Food and Wine.
Makes it sound like Olive's in the back making them scones.
Yeah. She's not. No, my brother does the baking now. But yeah, it's that was the Food and Wine article. They named us the best coffee shop in North Carolina. So that's
kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal. That's a pretty big deal there for sure.
Yeah, it's I think
we're your neighbors
from the from the outside. It's like it's
fished with that guy.
Yeah, I think it's hard to see it like. Because I remember, you know, being in coffee in my earlier years of doing it, seeing lists come out, and it's like, man, it must be nice to make a list or whatever, right? And so this list, it's amazing to be on because there's a lot of great coffee shops in the state, especially, you know, Asheville's got some good ones that I love. Probably my favorite is Farewell, but there's a couple that are also really great. But like Eastern North Carolina has some really, really great shops too. So it feels ever more like incredible to be kind of named that for North Carolina. But also in we opened in May of 2019. In November, this same writer put out a list, Food and Wine as well, top 100 coffee shops in America, and it was like a top 10 and the best of the rest. And so I got this email. It's like, hey, I'm making a top 100 list for coffee shops in America. You're on the list. And I was afraid to ask where on the list.
Like what number?
I didn't even want to ask because I felt nervous.
You don't want to advertise 99. Right?
No. No. It was less like, it was less that, but more like it wasn't out yet. I didn't want to jinx it or whatnot. And so I just said, thank you. That's amazing. Like, I can't wait to see it. And then I get a message from my friend Max, who owns Farewell. And he was like, dude, number 4, that's amazing. And I was like, what are you talking about? Because I didn't know the list was out. And so he sends me a link, and I'm like, Food and Wine named us the number 4 coffee shop in the country. Wow. Right under, this is like, we're like 5 months young. That's
even bigger than the North Carolina thing.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's pretty up there.
It's pretty crazy. Right under Say Coffee in Brooklyn, New York, Dayglow in Los Angeles, and Cat and Cloud in Santa Cruz. And it was like, and then Orchard Coffee in Waynesville, North Carolina. And that was amazing. Like that one, like I shed some happy tears over because it was like we open and then we're like seen in something everybody reads. It's on the shelves at the grocery store. My mom and I, who are owners of the business together, it was such a cool thing. And, shout out to my mom. Like my mom is from a small, like basically like a village in Mexico in the mountains. Right. And so, to come here as an immigrant and, for me to be our like first generation American on her side, and for us to be able to do this together and like not just do it, but be successful and thrive and like add something to a community. That's so important. It's like huge. It's massive. And it'll never be lost on me, like how lucky and blessed we are to do
the American dream's still alive.
Yeah. To do what we do and to have a community that believes in us and to have writers say nice things. Like I was telling you earlier, I just got an email literally when I was sitting in my car coming in, and it was a travel something, Big 7 travel. I don't know. Maybe they're a big deal. Maybe not. If you're listening, sorry.
I doubt they are.
But like they just sent a thing. They're like, hey, like we did a top 50 coffee shops in America, and you're on the list. Thanks for being great or whatever. And again, when I zoom out and I look at it objectively, it's really, really incredible, and I'm super grateful for all of those things.
So let me play the other side of that. So you hit number 4. You can only go up 3 more times. If they ever come out with a list and you're like 22, are you gonna be like, man, we've messed up?
Dude, I'll be so pumped. No, are you kidding me?
You still be happy that
you're
my gosh. 22nd in the country?
Even with our name as a footnote on a list like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they come out and they grade you and say, well, you went down in grade. Yeah. Like it's someone's.
There was a fly in the store.
Yeah, it's someone's opinion on how you operate and how you do things, so no, I don't think. I'm grateful to be on lists. If the list came out for North Carolina and it was another coffee shop, man, I'd be just pumped for those guys because I know how it feels.
Yeah.
To get on these lists, and I know how much it can mean to the people on the back end of whatever that shop is. So, I definitely would just be pumped for whoever. But I guess if a not ranked, like if a North Carolina list came out and it was like, these are the coffee shops in North Carolina you should go to, and we weren't on it, I'd be a little bit sad. But if it's like a countrywide, there's so many great shops.
Yeah,
I just feel lucky to be there.
Tens of thousands.
I want to see the list that says these are amazing coffie shops with fantastic fly shops beside them.
We will be number 1 for sure.
So. I'm just going to say I think so.
Yeah, every time on that specific category.
So. Oh, go ahead, man.
No.
I was going to ask about the World Latte.
Mm-hmm.
So what goes into that, man? You won it 3 times?
Yeah.
So is that just the roasting of it, or is that actually making?
So that's
the
actually
coffee?
preparing it and serving. So it's not a taste-based competition. So it really is. It's like strictly aesthetics. And it's so if you've come in, I think y'all mostly get drip coffee, but if you've come in and you got a latte, we do these like little shapes in the foam, and so there's like proper competitions. People come from all over the world to different cities.
Some people call that the frou-frou stuff.
They call it, well, no, it's just the flavors in the drink. It's the latte is not the frou-frou
shapes.
stuff. Yeah, the shapes that you put on top. And so there's a world championship competition, and it is seeded like March Madness.
Is it? Okay.
Oh yeah, so there's a 1 through 64, and people come and compete for like they come and try. People compete in this for a long time. They spend a lot of money to go to every show that has the competition, different cities, and compete for a long time and never win. And I remember I was working in Boston at this cafe, and I asked my bosses if I could go compete in the World Latte Championship, and they said, "You're not gonna get in, dude." Like, and they, they were like,
Hold my beer.
Andre Sadowski and Hugh Geiger, like those dudes are always in my book. Like they're like right there. And so Hugh, I think it was Hugh, he was like, dude, you're not even gonna get in. And so I got in. I was a 14 seed. So
All right.
yeah, right. Not quite 15, but 14.
Not quite. A little bit above playing game.
But it was like so you submit, and so people from all over the U.S. and all over the world submit, and then they're invited to compete in this competition. And so they send you an official like, hey, you're accepted. And the first one I got to go to was in New York City. So I go to New York City. My goal was like, I just want to win one round, and that for me would have been like good enough. That would have been okay. Like I did it, cool. So my first round, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was a barista from Japan who had gotten like 4th in Seattle, right? And I knew this about him, and I was like, okay, he's probably gonna beat me. It's fine. And so I go against him and win, which is like a shock to all these Japanese people because like American baristas don't beat the Japanese baristas very often. Yeah, because like if you've never been to Japan or seen the way that Japanese people do something when they're into a craft, they're not just into it. It is their whole life. They live it. They're perfect. Like you don't sort of do something. In America, you have guys like me that have 50 hobbies, but in Japan, I would have one hobby, and it would be all of my time if I was, in that culture. That's how they do it. So I got through the first guy. Second day was a South Korean guy, Stephen Lim, who's here in America, but that's him. And then third day was a dude from Israel. And third day they go like final all the way to the winner. I got a guy from Israel. I think another Japanese dude. Like I got a couple dudes, and then it was finally like me and this guy Kenny Smith in the final. And
Kenny Smith, like the commentator on the March Madness.
I was still thinking of basketball. Was Chuck over in the corner communicating? Come on, Kenny. Come on,
Too
Kenny.
relevant to the
the long-winded version of this story, right? Is so Kenny and I are in the final, and I'm thinking I'm winning money. Like I'm fine. I'm winning money and a trophy. So first, second, third. First, second, third. First, second, third get first gets 2,000, second gets 1,000, third gets 500, and all three get a trophy. And like that's what you want. You could get third, get your money and a trophy, and you're like, I got a trophy at a coffee fest, and like it's fine. So I was happy either way. You pour the drinks, the judges make a decision, and then they don't tell you for 4 hours. And they do it differently now. They do it differently now, where they're like, they announce the winner at the moment, and there's all this like anticipation.
They're looking at like the edges of the shapes.
They're looking at the way you do symmetry, execution, level of difficulty, contrast, and speed are the 5 categories.
So like the smiley face ain't gonna get it done.
Not really, no. But so Kenny, I mean,
I can do that one.
Like it really was. We pour the drinks, and then everybody who's there is looking and then makes their decision. The judges, there's 3 judges. They, kind of whoever, wins is selected by at least 2 of the judges. And then they send us off, and I'm like, what? So I'm just waiting around. I go out and get some food with my girlfriend, at the time now wife, Sophie, and I'm thinking, what the heck, So I get back, I'm expecting to get second place, and then they announce Kenny for second and me for first, and it was the craziest because I was just happy, like truly just happy to be there. And at that point, I've been doing coffee for 3 years, which was unheard of. You know, I was 22 years old, and it was a huge honor. But then, you know, it was funny because when I got back to Boston, my boss, Hugh, had told me, he said, I'll give you $1,000 if you win, thinking I wouldn't win. So I got back and I was like, hey, Hugh, I want that $1,000. He gave it to me. Like, he was true to his word. But it was pretty funny because he straight up was like, you're not going to win. I'll give you $1,000 if you win. And then I won. So it was a $3,000
Was he like, hey,
turnout.
man, you need to up your game in here in this cafe? Like,
No.
You've been holding that in the closet.
I was crushing it in the cafe. That's the funny thing. I don't think many people will have the opportunity to work in a place like that where we were so busy that the espresso machine was like one person pulling shots, one person steaming milk, one person pouring lattes. And so by that point,
can you imagine steaming milk for hours?
Oh
That's
my
all
gosh.
do.
You just show up and you steam milk for 8 hours and you don't do anything else and then you leave. Like a line out the door all day, every day. And I worked my way, you know, kind of like skill level. You're not going to get to be on the pouring side unless you're actually good and fast. And so, like, eventually I got to pouring side, and I just was like, that was what I would pour drinks all day, every day. I've probably poured, and this is a conservative estimate. I tried to do the math. I think I've poured at least 500,000 lattes in my career of coffee for the last 12 years.
That's not how many fish I've caught.
What's your favorite shape to draw?
I really like a wrapped 4-tier tulip. It's really nice. But yeah, it kind of changes on the mood. I've been loving rosettas lately, like big hollow leaves. But yeah, that was the first time I won, and then I went to the next. There's 3 of these competitions a year, and like so I went to right after that. I went to Chicago. My bosses were like, "Go ahead, give it a shot, kid." I got to the final 4, and then I lost. So I got fourth place in that in Chicago, and then I went to Seattle, and I was like, "I'm doing it." And then
Is Seattle kind of like the big, like,
I think New York is the big one.
is it? Okay.
But Seattle's up there.
I would think it'd be Seattle with Starbucks, like,
Well, I mean, Starbucks isn't a major player in the specialty coffee
right,
scene,
but
but
in the baristas, right?
no, not even the barista scene.
Really?
No. But they're there for
Yeah.
sure, but they don't participate. But that one was, you know, really incredible to go, and I wound up. I would either run into in my run of winning Nobumasa Shimoyama, who is a Japanese barista who is living in Australia, and he has this line of cafes where he like collaborates with people. So he does like Nobu Plus and then whatever, and it's been amazing. And Junichi Yamaguchi, who's probably one of the most famous Japanese baristas at this point, which I bet we'd never thought we'd talk about famous baristas on the podcast.
No, man, this is awesome.
But so Junichi actually was one of the founding guys for Percent Arabica in Japan. And he was like the face of Percent Arabica, like all of these beautiful cafes. They wound up like blowing up in the Middle East, which is a bad way to put it.
Yeah, that was a terrible way to put that. But
They took off really. They did
took
really
off.
well.
They
They did
took
really
off.
well.
They took off. They had lots of success. I'm really shooting myself in the foot here. But they have like multiple locations in Dubai, and they're all like really beautiful. They've got shops in Paris and New York. And so that's Junichi. And so it was basically like Junichi and Nobu and I, we were the top 3 at like 3 in a row. And it's kind of like a funny, you know, community. And I went out after, so I won 3 out of the four that happened consecutively. And then the next one I did was actually in Tokyo, and I got to the top 8 and lost to Kazuma Ozaki in the top 8. And he went on to get second. But yeah, like just like this whole funny other world.
that is, man. I never knew this existed.
I
So it's
didn't
kinda-
know.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I could talk about it for a long time because I love all those guys. But yeah, it's very cool.
So, who mentored you in the art of roasting coffee and has helped you along the way to get to where you currently are?
Yeah, I think I've had a lot of different people that have poured into me in different ways. I've done, in the course of my career, I've worked for a bunch of, you know, not a bunch, but a few really great companies. I was at Thinking Cup in Boston for almost 4 years. That was really where I learned a lot of how to do what I do. Hugh and Andre, the guys I said earlier, were my bosses there, and they were just awesome guys to be with and to be around. And both of them have these very unique perspectives on how to run a business and how to do the day to day. And I learned so much from them, and also was exposed to a lot of like just really great coffee. And so that was where I won my World Latte Art Championships. They supported me in going out and doing that. And then I moved back to Oregon, and this is kind of like the elevator pitch of my coffee story, but I worked with a couple different places. I was shooting photos, doing education and training for coffee shops and cafes, and I doing some consulting for like an independent coffee consulting company in Seattle that was sort of farming me out to different areas. And then I got a call from a company in Atlanta / sort of Birmingham called Revelator, and they said, hey, like, we'd like you to join the team. And at that point, I didn't really know a lot about them, but they had like cool cafes, like great machines. They had this aggressive growth strategy, and they were funded by a VC to get going. So I worked out there with them for a little while. And that was kind of where I first got to like stand behind a roaster. I hadn't been able to prior to then, but I didn't really even roast there. I think I shadowed our production roaster Cameron for like a day or two just to see what it was like. And then I moved to Iowa, to Ames, which is actually where I first fly fished with my buddy Austin Day. And I moved there to help work with a roastery cafe that was called Bergie's, was what that family was called, or that's what their name is. But they had a cafe called Bergie's Coffee, and they wanted to separate the roastery. And they had actually hired me on my cross country trip from Oregon, or from Boston to Oregon. They hired me like 4 years prior to kind of come out and sit with them and talk to them. And so we were sitting on a boat actually fishing, me and Andrew and Jordan, the two brothers that are the sons of the parents who started it. We're all about the same age. We're sitting out there fishing, kind of like spitballing, like what would it be? And we're spinning at that point, because before I grew up and learned how to really fish. And we're like catching bass, on like rubber worms. It was really, really fun in this little boat in the slough in their backyard. And we dream up this idea of like, okay, what if we separate Bergie and Windmills? Bergie, and we turned it into Windmill coffee roasters, and then Bergie can be the cafes. And so they brought me out there to execute that with them, and so that was really fun. That was more where I started doing some production roasting and sort of experimenting, and that was my first kind of official like head of coffee position, which was awesome because I got to like work with the buying and some of the QC, and I learned a lot while I was there, just in like how to operate. And when I left, I learned like the things I could have done better. It's just kind of like every step you go, you're growing, especially for me. I'm 31, and I've had a lot of learning in the last like 10 years, right? Like I'm glad I'm where I am now and not where I am now 10 years ago, because I don't think I would have understood, right, how to like exist in the shoes that I wear. And so from there I kind of came here from living in Iowa, but I've got a lot of people that I consider mentors. I've got my friend Andrew Webb, who has Bindle Coffee in Fort Collins, Colorado. He's like, I have like a circle of people that I'm on the phone with all the time, and we're like bouncing ideas and throwing things around. It's not all roastery related. A lot of it's like coffee shop. How do I do this better? Here's a problem I'm having. How can I pivot? So we're all, a lot of the coffee industry is really like it feels stupid to say it, but like community over competition. It's like, because most of these other people that I can help or that can help me are not in my market, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's kind of like breweries. That's
yeah,
how breweries.
Yeah, we're all trying. It's like rising tide lifts all ships.
I'd like to see more of that in fly fishing.
Yeah,
in the industry.
Well, you could give away your best spot right now. Go.
I should be clear there. Retail. Yeah. That's cool. What's up? Real quick, Shannon, smell that.
It's
just
tough.
Just sniff it. Sniff the bourbon.
It's tough.
That is the best smelling bourbon I've ever had. You can smell it too, Bobby.
I actually
You
get
can
it.
smell the barrel.
Hey, you smell a caramel
That
note. Do you get that there?
Uh-huh. It almost reminds me of a pipe.
Yeah.
It's got.
Long stretch.
So what can customers expect when they open the door at Orchard Coffee?
Well, I'll make this a shorter answer than all my answers.
No,
I feel
you're
real long-winded
that's
right
been-
now.
We hadn't had to do anything.
That's awesome. That's how this is supposed to work.
I just keep sinking over here. That's all I know.
Well, I hope when folks walk in, somebody says hello. You know, how's it going?
Yes.
That's kind of a thing, right? So
Absolutely.
Do
when
you do like Moe's? Welcome to Orchard.
I don't know.
Sup?
But when like the biggest thing I emphasize with my staff, and they're all really great at it, is like greeting our customers and saying thanks on the way out. Because it's like someone opens the door, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Or hello, just something to acknowledge that they walked in the door. And then I don't care if there's a cafe full of people. If someone leaves, I'm saying thanks. Like it's how I feel like we should operate, and for people to feel seen and acknowledged, that's like one of the biggest things. So when they open the door, I hope they get a hello, for goodness sake. But we've got fresh pastries. My brother is the baker, and he's got like a degree in baking from Le Cordon Bleu in French pastry. So he's like way overqualified to do what he does. Thornton, if you hear this podcast, please make more cinnamon rolls. But like, it's like baked goods. We have a really delicious breakfast menu that's all made fresh. So we don't par cook like a bunch of things and then just serve it. We do make everything fresh, and our coffee game is like, it's legit.
Your
So.
coffee game is good. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not a huge coffee drinker.
I've been
It is
drinking
good,
it.
though.
I've been drinking it the last 2 weeks on some of the stuff I've got.
It's
from
legit.
you.
Yeah.
What? So you got cinnamon rolls tomorrow?
Well, we're closed on Wednesdays.
Oh, so Thursday. Yes.
Probably not
No,
Thursday.
I'm here Thursday.
I'm there
But
Thursday.
wait, you're here Thursday?
No,
I'm
he's in
there- I'm
Waynesville
there.
Thursday.
I'm
Oh, you're
over
there.
on
Okay.
Thursday.
But no, we won't have cinnamon rolls on Thursday. That was kind of a poke at my
Oh, I
brother
gotcha.
who stopped making cinnamon rolls a while
The
ago.
blueberry muffins are great.
They're
Ooh,
super
that's
good.
saying,
Those
I
are
like
really
I like
good.
some blueberry
They're
muffins.
good.
Are
Yeah.
they good?
Yeah, they're
Oh, they're
very
so
good.
good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What are your hours?
8 to 5.
Okay.
Every day but Wednesday. So
Just
Saturday,
put
Sunday.
Put a sticker on the door and run up there and grab one.
Dude, we got a cool thing coming up. Actually, I haven't really talked about it yet on our socials. But when we closed for COVID, it was March 16th, and we opened back up on April 17th. So when during COVID, I, like everybody else, started baking. Right, like I had so much free time, I was like, I'm gonna bake. So I start baking. I have this book. There's a Nordic baker. It's called the Nordic Baking Book by, I think his name is Magnus Nilsson, but I could be wrong. Anyways, love the book. So he's got this recipe for donuts in the book, and so I started making donuts during the break, and I'm like, I just have to do something. And so I went fishing, found morels, and made donuts. That was like that's what I did in that month
It's like
off.
your day.
Yeah, it was great. But we came back on it April 17th with donuts. And so we came back in the door. We called it Dorchard. Like we put a plexi over the doorway, and we put a stainless steel table. We moved our whole espresso bar to the front. Like I brought a little machine. We didn't move the whole thing, and plumbing and everything. But we opened in the door, called it Dorchard, and had donuts in the window. And we were the first business to come back. Like we were the first to close by one day. We closed ahead of the governor's orders because we were like, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then we were the first ones to come back because we felt like, okay, it's been a whole month. We can't just be closed forever. For one, I need to do something. Like how can we make people feel normal right now? And that was the thing. It was like, we got to pivot. Like we got to, I went to Lowe's, bought the plexi, put up these massive, I over-engineered it, right? These huge D hooks or whatever. And then we did the plexi in the window, and we did Dorchard. So we came back with donuts on the 17th. So now this will be our second consecutive year. So now we can say every year, but we do free donut day at Orchard.
Okay.
So I was going to do it April 17th, but turns out that's Easter.
Yeah.
Right.
So we will not be doing it on Easter, but we're probably going to do it maybe the Tuesday following. So we just do like 200 donuts, and we do all kinds like maple bacon, strawberry, raspberry donuts, like
That's
legit.
cool, man.
These are legit donuts.
I'm gonna go check them boxes on that schedule.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's coming up. Is donut day. So for things that we do, I think we'll do April 19th. 2022 Donut Day at
heard it
Orchard
here,
Coffee. You
folks.
heard it here first.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Yeah, if you're in town fishing that week, go get a free donut.
Yeah, or come book a tour and then start your day with donuts.
Absolutely.
You know, that's a good idea.
That's cool. Man.
So another, and we can kind of talk about events here that happen in the coffee shop. One thing I see here, March 5th, you put out there on social is a beautiful 4-layer tulip looking thing with a cute heart in it.
Cute.
But a competition
Oh yeah.
coming to Waynesville. You gonna bring
yeah.
it?
I'm gonna bring one. Yeah.
Bring it.
I am so excited. We're gonna have a latte art competition probably the last week in the middle of the week. Baristas are often super busy on Saturday, Sunday, so these throwdowns happen. You know, typically people call it.
Is this like a walk off, like in Zoolander?
100%, 100%. So
These guys have not seen Zoolander, so they have no clue what I'm talking
yeah, it's this really cool event where basically people show up. Everybody pays $5. It's $5 buy-in. Winner takes all. Right. And
This is so Zoolander. I love this.
it's amazing. And so part of what helped me when I competed for my first competition, I remember I moved to Boston, and like the day after I got to Boston, there was a throwdown in Cambridge. And I go to this throwdown, and I remember this dude named Joe. Can't remember his last name, but Joe beat me in the second round. I got a bye in the first round, so it's not like I made it there. But that's that's how the cookie crumbled. And I lost this throwdown, but I was so jazzed about it. I was like, I love the idea of showing up and pouring milk, and there's a winner.
And you
So
have spectators.
Yeah, there's like everybody shows up. There's like free beer. People are hanging out, like cruising, having a good time. And I remember I was so pumped. I was like, okay, I got to go to this every single month. And I think I broke Boston's throwdown scene, and I'll tell you why. So I won. I lost like 6 months straight, but getting better every time, right? Like losing in the semifinals, losing in the finals, like getting up there. And then after like the 6th month, I won every single one for like 7 months. And people got so sick of me. And I think myself now, looking back at myself, I would be sick of me. Like it just, you know what I mean? Like it's just how it went.
Can't hide talent.
I was excited, right, to go and pour. It wasn't for selfish reasons. Like
You just enjoyed it.
Was
I
this
just
before
enjoyed
the
it.
national competition?
Yeah, this was before the World
Okay.
Championship.
So-
Yeah. And so I was like working my way up, and I just wound up winning. Like I remember I won, the first one I won was at Pavement Coffee on Mass Ave. And
Pavement. That sounds
and actually
inviting. That makes me want to drink it.
and actually Ryan, I can't remember Ryan's last name, but he had actually won or gotten third at Coffee Fest, and I beat him on my way to get to the final that time. And that was kind of like, for me, it gave me a lot of confidence going into it to say that, okay, I feel like I can compete with the best of the best. Ryan Soder is his name. And so yeah, like throwdowns are like this totally a thing, and there is a winner, and it's milk in cups, and it's super fun. But yeah, in May we'll do one, and I'm gonna kind of bill it. Yeah, don't come. It's free coffee. Hopefully there'll be a beer sponsor. But yeah, we'll have, it'll be a really fun event.
It's kind of like a true Eminem story there, coming from Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other besides free donuts and throwdowns? What other events do you have in the shop?
Yeah, we've done some concerts. We've done some really great concerts. We had this is not all an expository list, but we had Israel Nebuchadnezzar, who is the lead singer and writer for Blind Pilot, which is like a huge folk band. They're kind of like indie pop, folk rock, whatever that genre. And friends of mine from Astoria when I used to live there, and we had him out. That show sold out, super amazing. We had Stealth Ulvang, who plays guitar in the Lumineers, and they were like gonna play at the Haraz Cherokee Haraz, whatever, the big arena, right? Like Lumineers is gonna play, the huge. And so my friend Lauren plays violin, and she's in the band with Stealth, and he wanted a place to play. So they were like, hey, do you mind if we do a show in your shop? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, yeah, they get like one of the two people from the Lumineers want to come and hang out. And so Lauren is married or engaged to Ryan, who's the drummer for Blind Pilot. So we have essentially like this like super group, and
Wow.
that was really amazing. Great show, sold out in like 5 seconds. And
this is in the coffee shop.
in the coffee shop.
This is like
yeah, we
1,000
set it
square
up.
feet, right?
Yeah, we set it up. Like we put a drop cloth, like on the back of the house, like angle the lights so they work nicely with
I
the
picture
stage.
like the NPR
Tiny desk.
tiny.
It's a little different,
concert.
Yeah.
but like that we had that was an amazing show. Josiah Johnson from The Head and the Heart, who's like a super like sweet guy, writes these really thoughtful lyrics. And The Head and the Heart is another like huge band. I'm sure you guys have heard their songs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So no, dude, you got to look them up, man.
I
They're
will.
if you walk through like any, I don't know, if you ever go to REI or you go to Whole Foods or like you'll hear their music. It's
You said Head and Heart.
The Head and the Heart. Yeah.
The Head and Heart.
So Josiah Johnson released his own record outside of the band,
Okay.
and he's incredible. Josiah Johnson, if you look him up, he's got great stuff. We had Chris Stapleton, Staples. Stapleton is the big guy, Tennessee whiskey. So Chris Staples is another like he's really every time he's released a record under a label lately, like his past 3 records have been on the NPR top 10 list for records, and he's from Richmond, and so we had him out. He played a show. That one sold really well. But we've had the folks that we've had play are really like they're like polished artists who this is what they do.
It's their
and
livelihood.
it's kind of a
Yeah.
throwback to like another life I used to have prior to coffee, but it's like it's been pretty amazing to host shows and in another life I wrote and sang songs, and it's been incredible to kind of tug on those relationships and say like, hey, can I get you in here to come and play something, and we're able to like pay our artists really well and make it work.
Yeah.
So it's pretty awesome.
Well, I think it's just amazing that it's all part of that communal
Yeah.
piece of the puzzle there.
Yeah.
So, and I think that enthusiasm has spilled over into our shop certainly. So
Yeah.
it has been absolutely amazing to hang out with you and get to know you over. I mean, it feels like we've been there a year, but it's only been 8 months now. July,
Wow.
August. So
Dang, time flies.
it does. Yeah.
Wow.
So, awesome.
Yeah.
When's your next concert?
I don't know. We don't have it
Yeah.
on the books yet. I've had people asking, and I've got a couple folks that I'm like, I just sent a text to a friend today to see if they'd be willing to fly out and play a show. But that's
wow.
how it is. It's like the people that I know will sell the room they don't like live around the corner.
Yeah.
So it's just how it is. So when we
Shock.
bring people, we literally it's like they're coming to Waynesville to play a show. So
It's not like they happen to be in the market.
sometimes, right, like with our friends from
Right.
Lumineers, like they were playing a show in Asheville and they were actually starting their tour here, so they were in town for like 10 days, and it was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Like I got to go like with the band to tour the Moog Factory in Asheville, and it's like if you're into cool audio, like the Moog Factory, that the tour that the Lumineers get of the Moog Factory is different than the tour that like regular people get of the Moog Factory.
There's one in Asheville.
The Moog Factory?
Yeah.
Moog is
Moog is Asheville, dude. That's where they make
Moog
them.
Fest.
Moog, yeah.
In Asheville.
In Asheville.
What is Moog?
Moog. It's they make synthesizers, and they're like the name in synthesizers.
Yeah, I knew. I didn't
Yeah.
just know they were.
They're
in
they're
Asheville.
literally in Asheville. Like go to the
Really?
Moog Factory.
Where at?
I don't know.
It's
It's
over there
Asheville.
off of
It's over by the Food Lion skate
Google it.
park. Yeah.
Okay, I really did not
Yeah.
know that.
It's super cool. Very cool.
That is.
Yeah.
Man.
But like when we went back there, I'm like kind of like, back like with like all these famous people. I'm like this unfamous guy with this famous band, and they're turning on like all of the gear so that these dudes can play with everything. And I'm like just hearing like Wesley Schultz, like who's the singer and the writer for Lumineers, like just like fiddle around on like fancy. It's like so cool. I was nerding out. Just being in the room was like a huge deal.
Sure.
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
That's cool.
That is
It is
interesting.
160 Broadway Street, folks.
That's
we go.
interesting. Did not know that.
Yeah, Moog Factory. They
Yeah.
even have like a Moog store that has just a bunch of cool synthesizers, and it's, you know, but they do all the production there. And so if you get the tour of the factory, they're literally building all of the boards like by hand, like a bunch of dudes, like putting a bunch of dudes and ladies and all of the genres are putting together like these things. Like
Yeah.
that's what they're doing, and it happens in Asheville.
That's awesome.
That is cool, man.
Yeah.
There
Absolutely.
you go, Shannon.
That's got.
Learning everything.
Now
I
you
learned,
know.
man. I tell you, we're learning about roasting, the science, which totally blows my mind. We've learned about Latte Art Championship,
Who knew?
and we learning about music, and then we learning about Moog.
Which is music.
One more thing that might blow your mind. Tell us about fly fishing in Hawaii.
Oh, dude, this is like on my bucket list now. So when I grew up in Hawaii, I did not fish. My dad didn't fish, and if your dad doesn't fish, you don't fish. Generally, until you get older, right? I fish now, but it wasn't because my dad got me a pole when I was little, and so I, left Hawaii at 14. I just was like a surf rat, like that's all I would do.
When in Rome.
When in Rome, right? And it's so crazy. This is like completely. I'll just drop this one. Like I grew up with Bethany Hamilton, the chick who lost her arm
did you
surfing.
really? Yeah.
Like her mom used to babysit me. We went to the same church. Like that was the, you know what I mean?
That's
We were
cool.
in the same grade school class every single year until the 5th grade, right? And so I grew up. That was like the squad. Like we would always just be, surfing and bodyboarding and just being in the ocean. I wasn't a fisherman. Left Oregon at 14. Left Hawaii at 14. Go to Oregon. Still didn't get into fishing. There was like a king and coho salmon fishery right out. Like I lived in Astoria, where you have a 2-mile stretch from one side of the coast, or from one side of the state of Oregon to the other, and it's just the Columbia River beneath, where all of the fish that swim, that migrate up to like Idaho, swim right past there.
Yeah.
Never got into fishing. And I even took a fisheries biology class, and to this day, Mr. Kane, I'm sorry I wasn't a great student in your class, but I wish
He's
I
probably
was.
not listening either.
I know. I forget nobody listens to this podcast. It's just us talking into the void. But I was in this fisheries biology class where what we did every day we would learn about fish, but underneath the classroom was a hatchery. Yeah, we had a hatchery, and we would go to like fisheries where there were, like salmon they were raising to release to swim into the ocean and back, and we would like take the eggs and like take the freaking salmon sperm and like do the whole deal, and we would like make these fish in the
That's
hatchery under the school.
Yeah.
And I was completely not into it. I didn't care. I know. I to this day I'm like, that was a missed opportunity. And so I only really got into fishing after my daughter was born, when I lived in Boston, but I was just into spinning because I was like, that's what you do. I don't know. And then when I moved to Iowa, that was when I got into fly fishing. But so now that I'm a fly fisherman and I love it, there's this really like small strand of almost like if you look at videos of people catching like high altitude golden trout in Colorado, right, where they're not like what we have, like these like mutated golden trout, or they're like just like beautiful golden fish. There's a golden rainbow. There's the same type of fish in like these tiny mountain streams in Hawaii, in Kokee, which is this mountain, the island basically goes from sea level to 4,000 feet. And so in this like really remote section where you hike like 8 hours, or it's like a 20-minute helicopter ride, you pick.
They don't put the price of that on the website.
They don't. It's probably like $500. I don't know, but
Worth it.
Yeah, maybe. I would love to hike it in because I'm a hiker. But
Yeah.
like you can drop into this in this canyon that has like this trout stream that like nobody fishes, and it's where they have this wild strand of rainbow trout that were brought there in the 1920s by like sport fishermen, right? They brought like pheasants, which are like the ones on Kauai are like beautiful. I remember running into them in the wild, and I'm like, what are you doing here? This crazy, beautiful, like crazy tail bird. And then these trout that are just like gorgeous and thriving in these back valleys you can't even get to, and it's because you can't even get to them.
Yeah.
But you can go, and I think it's called like I'm a butcher. I won't even say it, but it's back there. And and there's this video. I might have sent it to you, Dale, but there's these conservationists went back there. These biologists went back there, and they were just doing surveys of like what the fish were eating. So they were catching, a certain number of fish and keeping them to cut them open, see what they're eating, just kind of doing surveys on what's there. And so in this 7-day trip, they killed a deer, harvested and ate the deer, and like looked at what it had been eating. They killed a wild boar, right? Same thing, and killed and caught and killed a bunch. Not a bunch. I think it was like 12 fish. And like they're like back there cruising, eating off the land. Like, where can you catch rainbow trout, like wild boar and deer? I guess you can do that here, right? But you wouldn't think you could do it in the mountains of Hawaii. But it's like,
No, you wouldn't.
like you get a whitetail deer like way back. It's crazy.
And it's not the state record for Hawaii. You ready for this?
Let's hear it. For trout?
For rainbow trout,
Let's hear it.
5 pounds, 10 ounces.
That's a good fish.
5 pounds ain't
But
no joke.
I'm gonna say, so that fish, there is a section of the stream.
That was Kwaki.
Is that how you say it? Quite
No.
So what is it?
It was in
pronounce
the
it.
Kawakoi.
Oh, the Kawakoi. Okay, so that's the stream.
Yeah.
But that's crazy because that like if you see the stream, if you ever watch anything I send you, you'll know you'll know that kind of fish doesn't live back there.
I got you.
But maybe they transported one of the or maybe they claimed
Somebody put a feeder out.
No. There's actually like there's a reservoir at the top of this little
That's
like
the Wahahiwa.
the reservoir at and so they I don't know, they fill it, I don't know what it's called, but they fill it with
there.
stock trout. And I would imagine
That's
that
probably where that
that's
came from.
probably where that came from. I
Yeah.
don't think it was in these. And
That
when
wasn't a wild one.
when you see the streams, you'll know that kind
Yeah.
of fish doesn't live in those streams.
Yeah.
Like
I
they
think
get
it's
like a
just-
foot long, maybe 17 inches at the most, but that would be huge.
I'm with you on the
Very
bucket list
strange.
thing there. I think
Bro.
it would be
That's crazy. You
Cool.
catch trout
It's
in Hawaii.
so, and there's like
How
there's a
fitting.
TU.
how fit. Well, that's
There's a
right.
Trout Unlimited there.
Yeah, the guys on wall. It's just this old dude.
How
He's so
fitting.
cool,
for
but
it's just one dude. Just one dude.
I love him.
He's got a
he
quorum
makes
every time, man.
They
He
have
makes
Poya
these
there.
videos. He makes these videos. It's cool. I'll send them to
So,
you.
how fitting though that Hawaii,
Mhm.
the only trout they have is a rainbow trout. Like,
Yeah.
really?
It's pretty
that was
cool.
creative.
Well, that's like you can
that's,
go.
That's on their state flag, right?
Yeah, you can
Or their
catch.
license plate.
You can catch like rainbow trout in the mountains, and then you can go fish like for bonefish on the
Yeah.
flats,
Yeah.
and then you can go like fly fish for deep sea. Like
Yeah, like
you
marlin.
and you can get like peacock bass. Like we call them
Cool.
toucanaries in Hawaii, right? You get like massive peacock
Jarrett's on
bass,
it.
right? In Hawaii, like for me, I had no idea that was all like in my backyard, but it didn't matter because it wasn't important to me at that point.
Yeah.
But now I'm pumped. If I can get back out there and just spend a month fishing, that would be
Yeah.
I still have family there, so I've just got to figure out, all the logistics, but it's a little bit harder to take a month vacation with your family. We do it, but we drive west every summer, and so flying across the ocean is not easy to drive
Yeah.
to Hawaii.
Well,
That's
that,
cool, man.
that- I want to do that with you.
Yeah, dude, we should.
Let's just
Tuck
go.
Fly Shop trip. I mean, you guys go to Montana every year. You fly there. Someone drives. Who drives?
No, we fly.
You guys all fly? Everybody flies?
We all
Yeah.
fly.
fly.
Oh,
We got to get there and get back, man.
flying fisherman right there.
Man, I'm looking at this. There's actually a write up on Orvis about it.
It's stupid, bro.
And
It's
it's gorgeous.
yeah. And if you could text me that right up, I would love to see it. But yeah, I would be so down if you guys wanted to put a trip together, because we wouldn't even need we just need travel, right, and tents and stuff. Because if we're gonna go back and like cruise way back country, I got the gear, but I would be down to helicopter in too.
Yeah.
Heck
Absolutely.
yeah, man.
Very cool.
Well, dude, thanks for coming out and talking to
Yeah.
us. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah,
We'll definitely have to have you back on.
Thanks.
Learned a lot. Now you can add rainbow trout in Hawaii to your list, Shannon.
Rainbow trout Hawaii.
Rainbow Trout Hawaii.
Didn't have that in the Navy.
No,
What?
didn't have that.
Hey, man, did you try the bourbon?
I did. It almost blew my head off, bro. This is like strong. I need
It
I
is.
need an ice
You
cube.
do they
Yeah.
did cut it.
I
Yeah,
need
that's
an
right.
ice cube.
That's
at
right.
I'll bring
least.
some ice
That's
cubes
right,
next
man.
time.
Man, that caramel note though was
Yeah, I mean the
yeah.
smell.
The smell is
It
very.
gets a little
very
easier
good.
once it burns the first layer of your
Oh,
esophagus.
yeah.
Then you're good to go.
Go.
Once it burns your whole head off, you're pretty fine. But no, it's nice. But it would benefit from an ice cube.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Sphere.
Chris.
Fishing report time?
That's right. Fishing Report is brought to you by our friends at Norvise.
More vibe.
Tie better, flies faster. March Madness is kicking off. I'll throw that plug, and that's about all I can throw.
Oh yeah, that's right. The
I don't
March
want-
Madness.
I don't want
fly
to.
time
I don't want to
thing.
get
Yeah.
DQ'd.
There you go. Nope.
Mm.
Can't.
See, we didn't know it about lattes. Did you know there's a March Madness for fly time?
Dude, no.
Yeah,
I'm
It's,
in.
it's a throwdown.
I'm
It's a
in.
throwdown. It's a
Is it-
spinoff.
Is it for art flies? Because I know that's a thing. Is it how pretty
Yes
or
and
like?
yes and no.
Well, you know, they did have. There was like these fly tying nights around some breweries. They would have like an iron fly competition.
Yeah.
Where you'd have to reach into a box and grab something and tie a fly out of it.
Mm.
That would be pretty fun.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But this is all social media, right, Shannon?
Format's different this year, but yes, you
Whoever
can
gets
go.
the most likes or something.
Shannon is afraid to talk.
You can go to the
He
Norvice
doesn't wanna be
website.
disqualified.
You can go to the Norvice Facebook page starting this weekend, which will probably be Friday.
The weekend
For-
generally starts on Friday.
Well, but there's so many tires they have to put it up for 24 hours. So I don't know when Miss Casey will get it up. I agree with you. Trust me, I agree with you.
I like
Uh,
I like
But there are
You're hired as the
also,
fourth chair.
I think there's also 3 independent judges. Before, everything was based upon how many likes the fly got,
Mm.
and the flies were getting shared across many social media
It's
platforms.
hard to keep up.
Now that only counts for 1 point.
Mm.
You have the gentleman who's with Fly Tire Magazine has a vote.
Mm.
Okay. So there's correct. We already know what the rounds are. Round 1 this year is a salmon stillhead fly.
So what are you seated?
It's not a seating. It's a random draw out of the hat.
But what are you seated in the?
There's no.
I would go number 1.
There's
I would peg him
no.
for overall 1 seed.
Of course, when Tim pulls it, he goes, "Well, if everything lines up, he could win the whole thing." I was like, "Gee, thanks, man." But
Right. So salmon fly is the first one.
salmon stillhead fly, and I'm sure there's going to be some beautiful, beautiful artistic ties.
Mm.
My theory and thought is, I want to tie a fly you can fish.
I think they should change the rules completely. That you have to tie the fly and have a picture
Of you with a
of,
fish.
of the fish you caught with, like, it has to be a fishable fly. Like, it actually
Gotcha.
works.
It would be hard because we're not, we don't have steelhead here. I've been watching a lot of steelhead videos lately.
You'd have to travel.
Yeah, they'd have to travel. Ooh, there we go. I like that. But you have to submit an in process. They know that it's you, of course, and this will be year 3.
Yeah.
First year Elite 8. Lost
That's pretty
lost
good.
in the Elite 8, and last year I lost in the first round to Corey on the crawfish pattern there.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's coming. Good shout out to Tim.
Yeah.
It really is a fun thing. It's grown. It's later this year because there actually was a show season.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah.
so the timing is a little bit off than what it has been.
So you lost on the crawfish pattern?
I did.
I was wondering why my crawfish I buy here doesn't work. That kept me no fish.
No fish. It could be the person using the fly.
Yeah.
I don't
You
think
gotta
so.
fish it right.
I don't think so.
I'm not putting floating.
It's supposed to sink, man.
Yeah, you're not putting floating on that.
Yeah, you're
Oh my
supposed,
gosh,
they're supposed
man.
to float, right? Those
That's
crawfish, they
awesome.
swim on that.
That's awesome, man. That's fantastic. But no, it's good. It's good fun time, and really, it challenges you
Yeah.
to do different things. So anyway, we'll see how round 1 goes.
Love
That's
it.
coming up now. Anyway,
Well, fishing
fishing
report.
report.
Man, you can go out. Number 1, it's going to start out cold any day
Mm-hmm.
right now.
Yeah, for the next 10, 14 days.
And it's going to be windy. It's just the bottom line. Just go ahead and expect it. So you may have to change your style a little bit. But bite window, fish in the sun, you're going to see all kinds of dry flies. That day, that was so terrible for us up in the national park. It was a good thing we had a lot of different options in the box. Don't go into the park with a box full of one kind of caddis.
Mm-hmm.
There were various colors of quills coming off, reds, the Gordons, all of them, various colors of caddis, and stones, still the little black stones coming off. So, the bite window that day randomly is interesting. It was the same for Bobby as it was for me. Between, we'll just say, the 2 and 3 o'clock hour, that was our best.
That was it, man.
And then it was over.
Mm.
Nothing else after that. And we went home and hit our heads against the wall trying to figure out what do we do, and we figured it out the next day.
Mm.
So, but fortunately those guys, they booked more than one day.
Right.
So they kind of got to see, okay, well, yeah, we got our butts wet. And these guys were good fishermen. They could cast, they could present well. So It's a good lesson. Certainly, if it's your first time coming to the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, you better give it more than one day. Because if you get it right on the first try, then man, maybe you should have went to the casino. But because you're lucky, but that happens. That doesn't happen very often. So you definitely have to give the national park more time. Other than that, the delayed harvester fishing outstanding.
That's normal. It's that time of year.
It is, but you can make it. You know, a lot of people. I've kind of, Shannon and I were talking about this today. I've kind of dove back into like Facebook, trying to sell a drift boat. I got sucked into all these pages, North Carolina fly fishing junk on Facebook, and it's like, no fish. Don't go fish there. There's no fish. And it's a delayed harvest, and it's like, come on, man.
Right.
Like, there's fish there.
It's not a secret spot.
Well, but it was like, fished for 6 hours and caught nothing, and like, well, did you change flies?
Right.
You know, it's like, so Bobby's always had a saying, change early, change often. Like, figure it out. Like, if you're not catching fish, change the fly. So you can make these delayed harvests as technical or as easy. You can go drown squirmy wormies and junk food and catch fish. But man, it was so fun to throw the Griffith's gnat and just whack fish on dry flies for like hours.
Hours, wow.
So chubby Chernobyls, they're working. Any color, get it.
We got
get
'em.
it. And we got 'em.
It is fun.
But that's
It is
why
awesome.
we've got them, is because you can fish an out west style
yes.
in the Smoky Mountains. So
Yes.
just a good time to be out there. This Saturday is what, April 2nd?
Yep.
We've got hatchery supported waters opening. So, places like Scotts Creek come alive again. They've not been fished, so they're not been pressured. They will be Saturday. So, but, the lower Nantahala, they're doing some weird flows, spilling, 350?
Something about that.
So that makes wading the lower it makes wading more accessible, I feel like.
No,
It's not
because
how
they're
that,
still pushing half of
They're
it
still
through
pushing the
powerhouse.
pipe.
yeah. So they're
Okay.
pushing half that water through the upper, and then there's a
So it's
small
still
amount
hitting
coming.
900.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that upper is. But with that being said, what you have to understand is once you get up past White Oak Creek, that flat all the way up to the lake where it's wide, it'll be game on up through there. Pretty
That's
water
right.
too.
It is.
Pretty-
It's gorgeous.
real
flooding.
pretty water up
and
through
gets
there.
overlooked because of the delayed
Very
harvest.
much so, because everybody's down at the other part.
Everybody turns around and goes back down.
That's like
Yes.
right past that bottom section.
Yeah, on the
That-
left.
That's a
Wire Road.
small side note. That's the first place I ever fished with Bob Gurnett.
Really?
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you
Legend.
just cast right over there. You'll get a fish.
Oh, and I did. It's like he's a magician.
I'm just gonna wear
He
my
is a magician,
wear my
man.
cowboy
Magician.
boots right here, and I'm gonna
I have
outfish
a
you.
photo of him wearing
It's like
jeans
the
and cowboy
gatekeeper
boots.
and the keymaster from
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
Anyways,
gatekeeper, you the
So they do have
I love Bob.
several campsites and stuff closed. There is a wildfire
Oh,
in the
yeah.
national park
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
yeah.
So
Burn.
So I think it's up. It's probably over 1,000 acres.
It was
now.
1,000
It
acres
is.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're going to get it contained. It's
10% contained. I don't know if
I
that's
saw
a
the
big
last report I
number.
saw was 40%.
What I
Well, that's nice of it.
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
It last night what they shared and they put out and I shared it was around 40%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to
Uh,
rain Thursday.
Yeah, it's greatly going to help.
So I was in Bryson this morning at the shop doing a couple things. I drove up into Deep Creek. The picnic area is
Pretty bad.
open, but they have it blocked off. You can't drive to that upper parking lot, but you can park in the picnic area.
But is the sidewalk closed?
It does have on the flashing sign. It does say all trails closed.
But
So I don't know if you're supposed
is
to
the
walk up in there.
sidewalk a trail?
Yes,
Is the creek a trail?
my thought. I think it's a trail.
So is the creek a trail?
I would say don't go up in there.
Yeah, but I mean it's
Just
that
the-
debate.
just stay out of the way.
Anyway,
Hard
Yeah.
fit.
I
but
would
there is
hope-
this.
Creek
Yeah,
catch
I would
on
hope by
fire.
this weekend, after this rain on Thursday, maybe by this weekend it'll open back up. But
absolutely.
I'm just glad to
being
see the
cautious.
Park Service actually fighting a fire.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know that was started due to the high winds and down power lines.
I was going to say
It's
we're not in a drought.
it's
It's
not
just
a
been
human
windy.
thing.
So it's the relative.
yeah, we had
humidity's
like
a
50
drought.
mile an hour gusts on
It was-
Saturday.
it was
man.
pretty intense, man.
It was kicking.
It's pretty intense.
We went up there to Deerland today. I was just glad to see the box still there. Like, it was still vertical, man. It was a good day. So, but yeah, be ready to fish in the wind, and use the wind to your advantage. You know, standing away in the river to help you. I mean, I'm sure you guys probably figured that out that day, or figure it out, or don't fish.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was hard to hide, but yes, yeah,
So-
big stick,
Yeah,
Big stick.
fast
yeah.
line.
Well, and the wind may cause you to fish nymphs.
Yeah.
You may not be able to fish those dry flies. Just switch over to nymphs.
Yep.
It's good. Cool deal.
Well,
Well, cool.
All hearts and minds clear.
10-4.
All right. Let's
Excellent.
eat. Thanks, Cabell.
Yeah, man. Thank you. That was fun.
That wraps up another exciting and informative episode of the Tuckcast with a splash of bourbon, presented by Tuckaseegee Fly Shop and Guide Service, located at 3 Depot Street, Bryson City, North Carolina, and 530 West Main Street, Sylva, North Carolina, in Waynesville. Be sure to visit www.tuckflyshop.com for streamflow information, book a guided trip, or even shop for your favorite Tuckaseegee Fly Shop gear. Follow the crew on Facebook at Tuckaseegee Fly Shop, Instagram at Tuck Fly Shop, and on YouTube at Tuckaseegee Fly Shop. If you have a question or comment, feel free to send those to info@tuckflyshop.com or give us a call, 1-828-488-3333. For Coach Dale Diesel Collins, Bobby the Bearded Wonder Bennett, I'm Shannon, Big Mess Messer. We'll catch you next week. Be sure to catch a few fish out there, won't you? Y'all take care.